This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
On the news this afternoon, security operatives arrest Yoruba Nation activist Sunday Igboho in Cotonou, Benin Republic. FRSC cautions drivers against reckless driving during Salah celebration. On the foreign scene, U.S. state of Oregon sees largest fire in history, destroying lands larger than the city of Los Angeles. I am Ifiemi Andrew. Yoruba Nation activist Sunday Igboho has been arrested weeks after he was declared wanted for allegedly stockpiling arms. Igboho was arrested in Cotonou, Benin Republic by security operatives on Monday night after fleeing the country to evade arrest. Details of his arrest is still unclear, but reports from the BBC says he is still in Cotonou and will be repatriated back to Nigeria. Mr. Igboho, who spoke to newsmen after his arrest, said several people were killed during the raid on his hideout. The Department of State Services DSS is yet to confirm the authenticity of his arrest. A political analyst, Professor Kenneth Nweke, says the media plays a major role in ensuring the safety of the country. Mr. Nweke, who was reacting to the ban on media houses by the government in its reportage of terrorist and bandit attacks, says it should not be seen as gagging the media. In an interview with our correspondent, he said the directive by the NBC is timely following the security situation of the country.
The advice for caution in handling some of these sensitive matters that touch on national security, it's not something that should be misconstrued by Nigerians to mean a gag on the media or a climb down on the media. I do not subscribe to that because everyone has to put his or her hands on deck to ensure that the efforts by our gallant soldiers and other security agencies yield dividends.
Professor Nweke also urged media houses to abide by the directive of the NBC.
The manner in which these things are reported, tells clearly what the country is. Impacts negatively on the country, not only within Nigeria, but outside Nigeria. The advice by NBC should be taken seriously because in managing security situation in a country, such as we have, in managing some situations that we have in Nigeria that tend to divide us, that tend to compromise our unity. Media reportage is very, very crucial in making our country what it should be. It is some word of advice and not a media clamp down.
He called on the media to ensure it protects the unity of the country, stating that the directive of the government does not hinder the right to information or freedom of expression.
The media houses do their reportage in moderation, not to touch on national security or not to compromise the unity of Nigeria. Of course, freedom of expression as provided in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria cannot mean that by the statement issued by NBC that Nigerians no longer can express those. No, I feel that as much as Nigerians have freedom to express themselves, as far as the press is free to air, such expression must be in conformity with national interest. And in defining national interest, of course, the federal government does that.
A magistrate court in Port Harcourt rejected documents presented by UPTH through the investigating police officer in case of alleged trafficking of two babies said to have died in the police clinic. Recall that in the last proceedings, the court ordered the chief medical director of UPTH to furnish it with documents including information on how the twin babies were deposited in the mortuary. But when the court resumed on Monday, the absence of UPTH representatives followed the questioning of the source and authenticity of the documents. Chief Magistrate Rita Ogugu said the court, including all parties and their lawyers, will visit the UPTH mortuary to verify things for itself on July 22. The Chief Magistrate also released the Executive Director of the Motherless Babies Home, Coco Foundation, Coco Cusco, and one of her staff, Comfort Ekong, who was remanded in the last adjourned date. The prosecutor had informed the court that UPTH is yet to release documents relating to the set of twins which conflicted with the documents later presented by the IPO. Correspondent Swebi Ruwaya reports that the court also demanded that the initiator of the transaction of the alleged trafficked twin babies, Chidima Maduka, a staff of Imo State Correctional Center, appear on the next adjourned date. Lawyer to Coco Krusko and her staff, Prosper Imbobi, spoke to newsmen after court proceedings.
The court went on upon our applications asking that some other parties should be to appear before the court. The counsel representing the police, not the prosecutor, did inform the court that those documents the court was requesting from my clients are now in their custody. So the court now requested for those documents, and upon citing the documents, the court, though in its ruling, did not allow the documents to go in, but ordered that having seen these documents, that my clients should be released on bail.
Lawyer to the second accused person, Austin Ekine, also spoke.
All the parties involved, they have been accosted, apart from one, Ms. Chidima Maduka, an officer of the Correctional Center, Imo State. She's been at large. Though, in subsequent days, when the order of this court was made for her to appear before the court on the 9th day of July 2021, I was at the state CID and I saw her with the police persons. Her involvement in this matter will unveil many things and all the atrocities that is being committed in respect of child trafficking here in Rivers State and in Nigeria.
Away from that, the Federal Road Safety Corps FRSC has deployed several thousands of personnel and operational equipment for special patrol during the Eid al-Kabir celebration. The sector commander of the FRSC, Olusegun Ogungbemide, said the massive mobilization of personnel and operational equipment were needed for successful operations during the celebrations. He advised motorists to avoid traffic violations and remain conscious of their safety.
We've removed a lot of obstructions from the road in order to keep the road smooth. So I want to use this opportunity to tell all road users that the operatives are on the ground. They should cooperate with them in order to have a smooth movement within this period. If you know your vehicle is 40, please keep it away from the highway. If you know that you are a recalcitrant driver, we don't need you around our highway this period. The enforcement is already on ground. Anybody that is arrested will be kept on road until after the festive period.
Still ahead, Provost of College of Medicine, University of Port Harcourt, says observing COVID-19 prevention protocols, simplest way to fight the disease. Stay tuned.
You no longer have to miss any moment of the action. Listen to us from anywhere in the world. Download the Nigeria Info FM app from your app store. Tap the menu bar on the top left corner of your screen, select Port Harcourt, and listen to your number one news, talk and sports radio station. 92.3 Nigeria Info.
The Provost of the College of Medicine at the University of Port Harcourt, Professor Iyopu Semini-Alaye, says observing all COVID-19 prevention protocols remain the simplest way to avoid contracting the disease. Professor Iyopu, who was reacting to recent warning of a third wave of the pandemic in Rivers State, said the vaccines remain the safest but complained of its unavailability.
The easiest and, surest way of preventing COVID-19 spread is a widespread use of face masks. Because the next best thing, actually is to be vaccinated. Unfortunately, the vaccines are not available in our countries. And even when they were here, there's vaccine hesitancy amongst people for all kinds of reasons. Wash hands as frequently as possible on running water for at least 20 seconds. Or to use hand sanitizers. Right. And then when it is possible to practice physical distancing, make sure that you're 2 meters away from anybody who is not from your immediate family.
While calling on the government to begin to enforce compliance to COVID-19 protocols in public places, Mr. Iyopu called for more investment in vaccines and sensitization of the people on its safety.
What government can do is to mandate mask wearing and make it compulsory where you have public gatherings and public events and all that, and to make sure that places are not crowded beyond the
capacities that can allow the social distancing regulations. That's one. Then vaccine rollout. Government is not paying for the vaccines. The vaccines that were administered a few weeks ago were all part of the COVAX program. So if government can invest in them, buying the vaccines, that would be great. Government should reassure the public that the vaccines are actually safe and that it's the most effective means of containing this pandemic.
Meanwhile, as some states are put on red alert following a third wave of the pandemic, spokesperson of Dana Air, Kingsley Ezenwa, says the third wave of the pandemic will not take a toll on the aviation industry. He tells correspondent Martha Okiri that airlines and federal government have taken several precautions to ensure the safety of air passengers.
From your entry into the airport to boarding the aircraft, you have hand sanitizers, you must wear your face mask. So when you disembark the aircraft and you leave the airport, so I don't think it should affect anybody flying. Even the aircraft is actually safe. The aircrafts are actually fitted with HEPA filters that actually purifies the air within the cabin, and this actually helps you have a healthy breathing on board the aircraft. On board, you're safe, so there's nothing to worry about. I don't think this third wave should affect aviation in any way.
Mr. Ezenwa said the level of recovery in the aviation industry after the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic is commendable.
Airlines are still requesting for bailout support from the government as promised earlier. It's been up and down, actually. I would say at some point we had a lot of passengers, we had the patronage, it was good. So it's been fluctuating. But all in all, I would say it's been good to some extent because we didn't envisage this level of recovery.
On his part, a representative of Asman Air, Ogbonna Chinedu, said airline business has been good 1 year after domestic flights resumed in Nigeria. He also urged the government to take all preventive measures necessary to reduce the impact of a third wave of the COVID-19 pandemic.
It's a gradual process. Business has been very, very good in West Africa, especially in Nigeria. So it's for the government to ensure that COVID-19 protocols are put in place so that international movement as it concerns air flights are being not disrupted.
Chairman of Domestic Cargo at the Port Harcourt International Airport, Omagwa Eno Ekanem, has advised government not to place restrictions following the third wave of the COVID-19 pandemic.
I think the best thing government should do is to be proactive. We don't have to wait for the third wave to get here before we start preparing. As you can see on my mask, and every other people should be masked. And the protocol should not be brought down. The government is proactive. If they are putting things together just before the third wave comes in, there may not be need for restriction, because restriction kills the economy or slow down the economy as we experienced before now.
Local flights resumed in Nigeria around this time last year after it was closed due to the first wave of the pandemic. In business, President Muhammadu Buhari says the vision of lifting 100 million Nigerians out of the poverty cycle within 10 years is still feasible. President Buhari said this can be achieved with more synergy between government and the people, as well as diligence in diversifying the nation's economy. The president commissioned the first National Agricultural Land Development Authority (NALDA) integrated farm estate in Suduje, Daura, Katsina State. In entertainment, Nigerian singer Tiwa Savage has lost her dad. The music star said her father passed away in the early hours of Monday, July 19, 2021. In sports, Lewis Hamilton has been the target of racist abuse on social media after his victory at Sunday's British Grand Prix. Hamilton received a 10-second penalty after a collision with title rival Max Verstappen. Mercedes, F1 and governing body the FIA condemned the abuse in the strongest possible terms.
And now we'll bring you news from around the world.
In the U.S. state of Oregon, the nation's largest active wildfire has burned through more than 300,000 acres, prompting thousands of evacuations. Over 2,000 firefighters are tackling the so-called bootleg fire, one of the largest fires in Oregon's history. Since starting on 6th of July, it has already destroyed an area larger than the city of Los Angeles. It is one of more than 80 major fires raging across 13 U.S. states, caused by heat waves and high winds. On the news this afternoon, you heard that security operatives have arrested Yoruba Nation activist Sunday Igboho in Cotonou, Benin Republic. The FRSC has cautioned drivers against reckless driving during Salah celebration today. On the foreign scene, you heard that the U.S. state of Oregon has seen its largest fire in history, destroying land size larger than that of Los Angeles. Contact our newsroom on 0818-900-0017. Pakistani weather expected in Port Harcourt this afternoon. My name is Ifiemi Andrew. Thank you for listening and do enjoy your day.